Hey y'all, it is Miss Katie with Heritage Ways. Welcome back to Heritage Ways. This is Project 54, episode 29. Can y'all even believe it? There are some folks on here, men and women, who have followed Project 54 from the start, back when we started in June, and we'll be through towards the end of August, somewhere around in there. So this is a project that, well, I'm doing for myself, and I hope it blesses many of y'all as well. And you can check that out. If you are new to Heritage Ways or Project 54, please go back. Go to the Project 54 playlist link that's in the description box below and binge watch all of these recipes that I've shared with y'all, and enjoy all the comments and the community that is being shared in the comment section. Right, this week we are talking about unusual recipes. Now, what may be unusual to me may not be unusual to you, and vice versa. So that's kind of a tricky theme to tackle, but we're doing it anyway. And I hope some folks are picking up some new ideas and new recipes. And if you're not, like the sweet lady who didn't like the banana salad, she was making me laugh. I think it's a Bittersweet Homestead, I think. It's not, I don't remember. I think that's right. Anyway, she was making me laugh talking about how she didn't care for that banana salad. You'll just have to go and read the comments. She's a hoot, but she watched it anyway. She's walking in community and sharing life with us all here. And that is what it's all about. It's about having fun in the kitchen, in Heritage House Kitchen. Now, before I tell you what we're going to make today and why we're going to make it today, let me remind y'all, at the end of Project 54, I'm going to have a live video, little party kind of thing. We are going to laugh and have all kinds of fun. It's on a Friday, can't remember the date, but it will be subscribers only. You don't have to pay, of course. I mean, it doesn't pay, you don't have to pay to hit the subscribe button, but it's going to be set to subscribers only, because I want to thank y'all for subscribing and for watching and walking life with me and just laughing and having fun. We're going to talk about trivia, funny things that happen, not funny things that happen behind the scenes. I'm going to answer questions about the recipes, about filming all these videos, all kinds of things. So we're just going to have like a wonderful little chit-chat party that Friday night, the night after the last Project 54 video. So please make sure you're subscribed and share our project with a friend, or share a project with an enemy. I mean, you know, if there's a recipe you don't like that banana salad, share it with somebody you don't like. Okay, so what we're going to do today is fermented ketchup. Now that may sound nasty to some of y'all. Some of y'all may not be familiar with fermented foods, lacto-fermented foods. You know, sauerkraut is a fermented food. Certain types of dairy that you can get, sour cream, if it's fermented in the old-fashioned way, is a fermented food, and buttermilk and other things like that. Certain pickles are fermented foods. Anyway, fermented may not be the delightful word you want to hear. It may sound icky to you, but it is so good for your gut, y'all. Fermented foods are so good. They have probiotics in them. So today we are going to make fermented ketchup. Okay, or if you just want to call it super healthy ketchup, we can do that. But I've got a lot laid out on my board here, my butcher block table. Don't let that scare you. I've got a lot of tips. I've got a lot of explanations for what we're going to do, why we're going to do it, how you can do it. So we're going to not only talk about how the recipe, but we're going to talk about why and what you can use and that kind of thing. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Even if this is something that doesn't delight you, I hope that you will stay tuned, maybe learn something along the way, and share in the community tab. I'm loving your comments. I'm loving the community that is still being built. We are moving up in numbers. Y'all have almost hit 10,000 subscriptions here on Heritage Ways. Y'all have done it. It's y'all. I'm not the one hitting it that many times. Y'all are, and I'm so excited. Well, let's get started with our fermented, or our super healthy ketchup today. Episode 29 of Project 54. I'm going to be honest with y'all, because I always am. I tell you the truth as much as I know it in anything that I share with y'all. And I have never used a recipe for this. It has always turned out okay. So I jotted down what I believe is my recipe today, and we're going to make it. I'm going to taste it. I may have to tweak what I've got written down, but I tell you what, down in the description box, I'll go ahead and write the final recipe of what I've done today. So my friend Debbie at Higher Aim Homestead, who has been a delight and a godsend, quite honestly, to write the recipes down for us here at Project 54. I appreciate that so very much. I also appreciate those of y'all who have thanked her for doing that for the community. I have a jar here. It's a half-gallon jar and a big wide mouth funnel. Now you can half what I'm about to do because I'm going to use 4 of the 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. But I want to talk about every ingredient. I want to talk about why I'm using them. I want to talk about possible substitutions. But just remember, let me just stop and say here too, I don't like ketchup. Okay? So, it may surprise you, I love this fermented ketchup. Like, I find foods to put it on. It is that good. And I'm not a ketchup lover, like straight ketchup. I add it in things and I can handle that, but no, I don't just squirt ketchup on my French fries or something. That's gross to me. But, y'all, I'm not kidding. This stuff is so good. Now, you can find this all over the internet. You can find these all over the internet, in books. There's really nothing new under the sun. We know that. But I add one item in mind that I have never seen on any other fermented ketchup recipe. Now, while I'm talking, I'm going to be opening these, and I have a certain way to open canned goods. I'm going to use 3 of these instead of 4 today. So I said 4 in the intro, but this is 3 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. I do try to usually buy organic, but I've told you before I live in a small village, which I love, and they didn't have it at our store. I do have some down in my storage, my larder. I have a lot, but Mr. Patient and I decided we're trying not to raid our larder at this point any more than we have to. We're still buying groceries at the store, even though we have preparations for if we need it. I take off the top paper of any can usually, because I have found that you don't want to know what I call them. It's rude. The paper boogers, I don't know what else to call them. I'm sorry. I know that's rude. I shouldn't have said that. But they get in your, whatever you're, like you open a can of green beans and the paper gets all shredded and it gets in, you dump it in your pot and it gets in your green beans. I can't deal. So anyway, I should edit that out. So 3 cans of tomato paste. All right, I'm going to open both ends. And this allows me to just push out the tomato paste. See what I'm saying? I didn't practice what I preach, and now I've got all those pieces of paper. Just take the whole label off. Got pieces of paper that might get in my food. So there's my first tip. It's just something I do in the kitchen. And let me show you right here front and center that I take off one end of my jar, and I just push this through and it comes out. I'm trying to catch that lid though before it, there we go. Okay, if that's too much, then just use a spatula to get it out. But we're going to put 3 cans of tomato paste in this jar. One way or another, it's going to get in there. Okay. All right, we have our 3 jars. So it's 18 ounces of tomato paste in here. Like I said, I do try to get organic, but that shouldn't stop you from making this, because this is still going to be healthier than the store-bought. Now, I have 2 examples over here of store-bought. They're the same company. One of them touts it's 100% natural and the other doesn't. And I read the ingredients and it's the exact same thing. So tomato concentrate made from vine-ripe tomatoes, okay. Cane sugar, distilled vinegar, salt, less than 2% of onion powder, and other flavors. And these were bought at the Amish surplus place. So I paid less for these than I would at the grocery store. And my point in telling you that is this is still going to be, the homemade's going to be less expensive than buying it anywhere, I think. If you're buying comparable items. Now, if you're buying the big jug thing for 79 cents and it's got all the things in it that we're trying to avoid eating, then obviously, you know, you got to compare comparable items. We're using healthy ingredients today. All right, so let's go with, I'm looking at my notes. We're going to go next with a fourth a cup of apple cider vinegar. I also pulled this jar out to show you could just use, you know, a quart jar, whatever. It needs to be glass. I'm using this half gallon. Doesn't really look like half gallon, does it? But it's supposed to be. All right. Apple cider vinegar with the mother. Now, if you're not familiar with this, I know you may probably have heard of it, and most of you know all about it and make your own. But the mother is, for lack of a better explanation, the stuff floating around in there. It's what makes it living. It'll say including the mother. This is, I guess, from Aldi, or I don't know where this is from. I don't know. But Kirkland. I don't know if that's Aldi or if that's somewhere else and I just had the bottle. But anyway, you can get Bragg's, you can get whatever brand, just make sure it has the mother. That is such a good nutrient for our bodies. And I'm going to put a fourth a cup. All right, a half a teaspoon of salt. Tablespoon. A half a tablespoon of salt. My soup spoon is a teaspoon. Can't say the words. This spoon is a tablespoon, give or take. So I'm going to put half of that. Can you use the iodized blue box stuff at the store? No, ma'am. No, sir, you can't. That will negate, do something negative to the ferment you're trying to produce, and it will keep it from producing as well. It is, in my opinion, see the medical disclaimer below, it is, and it's not just my opinion, go look around, read books, listen to people who know more than I do. The iodized salt is so unhealthy for us. So get yourself a Himalayan pink salt, Redmond real salt, that kind of thing. Now I have liquid aminos. You might ask, what is this? All-purpose seasoning, natural soy sauce alternative. It is made from soy protein. So if you're trying to avoid that, you won't want to use this. Vegetable protein from soybeans and purified water. This is a more natural alternative, and it tells you so on the side of the label. It is from the Bragg company that makes the Bragg apple cider vinegar that I talked about. If you don't have that, don't want to go find it, which it's easily found in every store now, use Worcestershire sauce if you want to. But we're trying to remain healthy here. All right, and I am going to take this off, and I'm going to put a tablespoon. Is that what I wrote down? Yes. I'm going to put a tablespoon of the amino acids. And just think of it like a soy sauce or like a Worcestershire kind of idea. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add my sweetener, and then we'll talk about the spices and seasonings. I'm using 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Pure Ohio maple syrup, which happens to have been tapped from my great-grandfather's trees in mid-Ohio, about an hour from me. I might need more of that when I taste it, but we're just going to go with a tablespoon for now. Okay, now the spices. Now, y'all can do all kinds of things. I hate to do that to you. I hate to say, hey, here's a recipe, but you might want to change it a million times. but really, I mean, it's about your preferences, your flavor taste preferences and that kind of thing. Whether you want it more spicy, whether you want it hotter. And quite honestly, I mean, we know we go to the grocery store and there's some stores, especially, I love the gourmet stores. I love just looking around in there. Like some women shop for, you know, shoes and clothes. I shop for gourmet food and that kind of thing. And I love to just look. But there's all kinds of flavored ketchups. So that's what I'm saying. You can do whatever. All right, what I have written down. Let's do 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And let's see, 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, which I absolutely love allspice. I love allspice. Also, I want to do a pinch of cloves and a pinch of cinnamon. Ooh, that smells good. And a pinch of cayenne pepper. See, I don't even have those 3 written down on my paper over here, so that's how I cook. Oh, onion and garlic powder. And I thought of one more thing too. I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of the garlic powder. And remember, if you just want a plain kind of more basic or bland, I hate to use that word, but it's true, ketchup, you don't have to do all this. 1 teaspoon of onion powder. All right, and then we're coming in here with, now I like to add turmeric, or some people say turmeric, but I like to add turmeric in as much as I can, but primarily when I'm making my spice mixes, spice blends, any kind of tomato product. But turmeric is so healthy for us. It's an anti-inflammatory, which is why I personally like to use as much as I can of it. So I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. I don't know the right way. I've heard it's pronounced both ways. And for the properties, the good healthy properties in turmeric to be released, you need an oil, a good fat, and a pepper, like black pepper. So I already have my black pepper in there, and I'm adding a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can add, it needs to be a liquid, not a solid like coconut. So you can add olive oil if you want to. So you can leave those 2 out, but the reason I did add the oil is because I added the turmeric, and you need the oil with the turmeric, or the good fat. All right, now we are ready for my secret. I say secret, it's just I've never seen it on anybody else's recipe, and I have had success with this. I'm not just experimenting today on y'all. Now most people add whey, and I've done that, and that's fine. WHEY, it's a byproduct from making dairy things. I get it when I make my yogurt. I've got a video. Easiest yogurt you'll ever make. I mean, all you need is a crock pot and well, anyway, there's a video. There's a video, and I'll try to link the video down below in the show notes so you can just click on that. Easiest way to make yogurt. Anybody can do it. I mean, no joke. My son was doing this at 6 years old. So then I strain the yogurt, which I have another video about that as well. And you can end up making, have your, like your Greek yogurt. And then I also make labna cheese with that. Got another video about that too. If you're new to us, just know I've got almost 800 videos. So I hope we have something that appeals to you. Anyway, so when you strain that yogurt, you get whey. And that whey, that clearish or milky-ish, I guess, looking liquid, it's not really clear, it's kind of opaque, I guess, translucent maybe, but that is the product that you would add to this, but I don't. I add something that I have plentiful in my kitchen at all times, and it's super, super probiotic, and it is has a little bit of flavor as well. And that product is kombucha. And every one of these jars you see is kombucha, First Ferment kombucha. I have nearly every one of them is a SCOBY hotel, quite honestly. This is my Bucci on tap. And I have this, and this is what we're going to get our 1/4 a cup of kombucha from, so that we can add that to our ketchup, our wonderful ketchup. All right, in a clean jar. And look, oh my goodness, y'all. That's even embarrassing. I've let it get that far. Y'all, that's probably 2 or 3 inches thick. And I didn't even, this is a second ferment, no flavored, no juice in it or anything. So it's crazy. This is a second ferment with no added juice. No SCOBY was put in that. It is so healthy. This is the healthiest SCOBY village I've ever seen in my life, I've ever had in my life. It's unreal. I'm just thrilled. But yeah, the kids and I and Dad can come over here and get, and our guests who come visit, they know where the SCOBY, or where the kombucha is. Looks kind of like apple juice. It's not, now I'll say, I laugh because my friends who've been in here lately know. Preacher's wife, bless her heart, tasted some the other day and she was, woo! I said, I know, it's been sitting there a while. So it was rather fermented. Okay, we're going to put a 1/4 a cup in here, and this is in place of the whey, okay? In fact, that's probably not enough. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stir it real well. I'm going to taste the flavor. I'm going to look at the consistency. I have found that as things ferment, in my experience, they thin down just a little bit, a tiny bit, not a lot though. So let me do that. Let me stir that and then taste it and look at it. Now I'm going to tell you, it already smells wonderful. It smells good. All right. Now, here's the thing. It's thick, like I've seen thick ketchup, but it makes me think a little too much of tomato paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, you could probably even add a tablespoon or 2 of water, but I'm probably going to add, let's try 1 tablespoon of the kombucha. And I haven't tried it yet either, so the amount of liquid obviously is going to depend on how well, you know, if you want it thin or thick or something. By the way, you can eat this right away. It won't have those healthy benefits as much until we ferment it, which I'm going to tell you how to do in a minute. All right, now, see, it's not, that's the thickness. So, you know, if that's great to you, then that's fine. It's really a little too thin for me. I mean, thick for me, but let me go ahead and taste it, see what the flavor's like. Remember, I don't like ketchup, and I love this stuff after it's fermented. Okay. It's very spicy, very flavorsome. It needs some more depth. I'm actually going to add the other half a tablespoon of salt. And I'm going to add another tablespoon of maple syrup. A half a tablespoon is 1.5 teaspoons, so that's about that. You got me 2 tasting knives. Okay, let's try this. Oh, that's much better. Okay. It has enough salt. That's a good amount of salt, I think. I still need some more maple syrup. Okay, I'm going to taste it since I added that last bit of syrup. I think it's very good. Get you right here because you've got that apple cider vinegar and the kombucha. But, oh, I love it. You want this to sit on the countertop in a fairly warm place. I've let it sit out for 2 or 3 days before and it was ready. I've read some people leave it sitting out for 1 to 2 weeks. It's not going to go bad. Now, if you see some mold or something, use your discretion, but I personally would throw it away. So I wouldn't keep it. I've never seen mold. What you will see though is it bubbling up. You'll have little bubbles, fermentation bubbles. And let me insert here and say that fermenting and making kombucha and making sourdough bread, there is an expert way to do all those things. I'm not an expert and I don't always do the expert way. I have had some failures. But what I want to encourage y'all is to start, even if you fail, start with a ferment or making kombucha or sourdough starter, whatever it is you want to practice on or learn. Because I have found, and no offense to the experts, because there's something to the expert ways of doing these things, but I do not do the expert way of making kombucha or sourdough starter. And as far as kombucha goes, I have had pretty much complete success. Now, some of it might taste like vinegar sometime, but that's not a failure. That's just letting it sit there long. And then you have vinegar. So I just want to encourage y'all. Well, I haven't, because I've heard people here in my house in the past couple of weeks. Well, I can't make sourdough bread, or how do you make sourdough bread, or doesn't it have to be perfect, or isn't there a right or wrong way? Same with kombucha, same with sauerkraut, and so forth. Yes, there is an expert way for it to be perfect and all that. And you can go to my friend Mary at Mary's Nest. She has a wonderful channel with expert ways of doing all those things. My friend Vicki at Vicki's Country Home is an expert sourdough bread maker. My friend Stacy at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, she's an expert fermenter. So there are right and wrong ways to do things. But one thing I did learn from Stacy, for example, that when we visited one time, and she did a video with Little Miss Homemaker, and there is a right and wrong way to do things, but you don't have to so consume yourself with, nail biting. Am I going to get it right? Am I going to mess up? Just experiment, try it. So this is a good way to experiment. So anyway, I just want to encourage y'all. This will start to bubble up. I have read conflicting things about this as well. So you might need to do your research. I'm telling you what has worked or not worked for me. Now, you can use, some people use these things, the little burp. This is the mason top. In fact, this came, Stacy gave this to us, to Little Miss Homemaker when she visited. But I don't have the one that fits in a wide mouth ring. I got this out when I thought I was using this jar, just to show you that you could use one of these burp top things. They have a real name, but I don't know it. Anyway, and you could put that on top, but it's going to fall down on top of your ketchup. I wouldn't advise this. This is more for like something with a lot of liquid, like your kraut or pickles or fermented carrots or something like that. And that's what we use this for. Now, this is the lid that fits on this jar, but you do not use metal when you with your ferments. You would want a non-metal. This is a PBA-free type of plastic, designed in USA. It's from the Ball Canning Company, and I love these jars we are no longer Amazon affiliates, so we don't have a link for you to buy them, but there are other ways to support Heritage Ways. So I used to have a link for these, but I don't. But you can find these at all kinds of places. This doesn't fit on here, but I do want to show you that if you were, again, to put it in this jar, once it's fermented, you would want to use a plastic lid in your refrigerator and not a metal lid, because it'll corrode it. Alright, so at this point, this is what I'm going to do. At this point, I am going to just put this coffee filter, it's an unbleached coffee filter, and I'm going to put this metal ring. Actually, it doesn't necessarily fit on there, but it'll hold the coffee filter. Or you can put a rubber band or a piece of twine. As I'm editing this, I realize I should have told you that a lot of times in the past I have just put a the black plastic top on my mason jars and just burp the jar every day or so, or maybe even a couple of days, just to get the air out. And that has always worked fine as well. And then I'm just going to let it sit over there in my little fermenting village, and I will let it ferment. Now, I don't put my sourdough ferments with my kombucha ferments, but this is kind of related in the same family as my kombucha ferments. I will set this over there until I see bubbles. It could be up to a week. If I wanted to go in there, I've never stirred it. Like I said, you'd have to research that, but there's no reason to. You can go in there and taste it every few days. And if you like the flavor, if it's fermented, bitey, whatever words you want to use, and you see the bubbles, then you know, or it'll taste a little different from the way it tastes right now. And you'll know it's ready. So what I'm going to do at that point, because of space in my refrigerator, is I will then move it to a smaller jar, or I can move it to a squirt bottle. Just know, when you put it in something like a squirt bottle, though, this is under pressure, if you will. So this is build up pressure, unlike the ketchups that you buy at the store. We just put it in a glass jar, and I will use this lid. So I hope that encourages you. I hope it gave you a lot of tips and tricks. And we will see you tomorrow with another unusual recipe. This is one of my favorites. I was really looking forward to bringing you in Project 54. This was one of my main recipes to share with you. So we will see you tomorrow. And until then, as Julia Child says, bon appetit. Before you go, let me tell you, this is my fermented garlic, and there is a link. I have a video of how to ferment garlic. This is honey and garlic. There's a video about how to do that. This is delicious, and it is such a healthy powerhouse, especially during cold and flu and funky season. Winter, fall, well, right now that can be any time, sick season. So this is a powerhouse. Check this video out to learn about my fermented garlic. All right, I have a jar. This is a 1/2 gallon jar, and oh, it's dirty because my children do the wash.